So yeah, I don't know where to film from this week. What about Goodwood? Should we film at Goodwood? What do you reckon? Or what about at the rugby? That might be a good idea. Or what about here? Bury St Edmunds, Sugar City. Or what about here even? Hello everyone. Thought I would do the vlog, this week's vlog from Redfox at one of the world's Eastern Counties largest wind farms near Great Wilbraham in Cambridge. Hell of a site. I think it's 13 turbines here all whizzing away. And somewhere around here there's my mate Magnus, which he's having a sniff around. We'll try and find him a little bit later. So how are you feeling? I'm feeling, being candid with you, a bit depressed this week. Why am I feeling a bit depressed this week? A couple of reasons. There's the Madrid show, Fruit Attraction in Madrid in Spain. I was speaking to one of my contacts and he sort of slightly brought me down a bit. He's currently in FMCG, and rightly or wrongly he wants to get back into fresh produce. And he went out there and he approached a number of people that he's known of to see what roles may be about. And 8 out of 10 people apparently came back to him and said, why do you want to get back into fresh produce? It is so hard. No one's making any money. The retailers are putting so much pressure on us. Why do you want to get involved in this sector? And you've heard me talk about it before. My view is that the cure to the obesity crisis, we're just in it. We're sitting on it. We've got the answer. But then we're all getting banged over the head because of this ongoing retailer pressure. We're in this halcyon moment, but how can we capitalise on it when no one's going to make any money out of it? I remember going to a Cranfield course years ago and they stated in very simplified terms why we're all in business. 2 reasons. 1, to have fun, most importantly. 2, to make money. And if you're doing neither, what's the point of being in business? But the best thing about our sector is the produce that all of you guys are handling, whether it be agricultural or fresh produce. It's not like we're making boring widgets for construction equipment. We're making things that can save the planet, save lives, literally. Why drink a can of horrible sugary stuff when you can have an orange or an apple or a carrot? Why are we in this downward spiral? I was talking about Tim O'Malley last week and his fantastic article, The Race to the Bottom. Why are we in this downward spiral when we've actually got a cure for so much ill, not only in the UK and the world, but we're all just getting beaten up by it? And it's my slight concern about the Veg Power campaign, which I think is fantastic, and it's great if you haven't heard that they've picked up in the new year something like £2 million worth of advertising on ITV and a London agency to run with that. And all the retailers have got behind it. But if I'm being a bit cynical, why have the retailers got behind that? Because they've found that someone's going to be advertising veg for them, FOC, which means they're going to get more punters potentially into their retailer, which means they're going to sell more veg, which means more money to them, but not to our suppliers, because our suppliers are still going to be operating on wafer thin margins. So what's the cure to that? Do we go direct to the consumer rather than go through a retailer? Or do the retailers realise that our suppliers, they need more margin so that they can invest for the future? Or are they just going to always manipulate the supply base to be on that wafer thin margin and the tendering process of an Excel spreadsheet, and it's just who's got the lowest figure on the bottom right hand corner? I don't know what's the answer. You tell me. Come on, what's the answer? But we need to evolve, and I just want to give you a really nice example of a company that has evolved. About 2 months ago, I got a phone call from a business in the fresh food sectors. They're doing relatively well, but they've decided, they woke up one morning saying that we're just being busy fools. We want to do something with the business. We want to have a plan. How many businesses actually have a plan? And they realised they didn't have a plan, but they also realised they didn't have the time. They got the energy. They didn't have the time or the emotional intellect to realise what that plan was. So they came to me and said, we need a plan, but we don't know how to construct this plan. So I said, well, it sounds like you need something like a non-exec or a chairperson or even sort of a policeman for your business, to be your critical friend, to sit down with you, work out what the plan is and plan it out. And they said, Max, that's a great idea. How do we go about it? So I then advertised for a non-exec. We called it a non-exec. And it is really, is it a non-exec? Yes, it is really a non-exec. And it was a fascinating process to go through. I don't know if any of you have been involved in what we call our retained projects, where we will go out and we will network, we will headhunt, we will advertise to find the best possible shortlist. And for this project, I had 6 really interesting individuals coming through. All of them would have been capable of doing the role, but it was the cultural fit that was really key in this one. So I sat in all of these meetings and I chaired them, and that the candidate would come in, I would introduce everyone. Everyone's all grown up, so it's all very sensible. And I get the client to talk about their business, and then I get the candidate to talk about their background and what they could do, what they could add. And you learn so much. I've done hundreds of these, but you learn so much at these meetings on a business perspective as to the emotions of it, the direction of that business wants to go in, the candidate input. Very quickly you can find out who's going to work culturally and who's not. And probably the most important thing that came from this for me is the chap that actually got presented the role and has accepted it, and I think it's going to be a great success for this business. He stated throughout the meeting that, gentlemen, to our clients, I think the problem with yourselves is that you're working in the business and not on the business. You need to work on the business. You need to step back. We need to organise a plan. So just tell me, what is your plan? Where do you roughly want to be? And so that was constructed, and within a space of about 10 minutes, the plan was agreed. Subsequent to that meeting, the candidate then met up with them and agreed again, and they now have a plan. And they're so motivated. They were motivated 2 months ago, but they're so motivated now to make a success of this and do what they're going to do within a 3-4 year period. I'm actually absolutely convinced they're going to achieve that. So what's the point of telling you all of that? Going back to the start of this, there's people being depressed about the sector at the moment because of the price pressures and Brexit and have a plan. We need to evolve. We need to know where we're going, and if you can't do it, get some help. Talk to us, talk to whoever. You have the answers, but you also might need the answers to be brought out of you, and you need to talk to people about that. You need to talk to people away from emails, away from retailers, away from telephones, and just again, go back to Cranfield. I remember Cranfield stating that the better businesses that they came across, not only the training and development side, but the better businessmen spent 20 to 25% of their time just thinking about where they were going to take their business and how they were going to do it. And then they would bounce it around and they construct a plan. I think the problem with our sector, because it's so fraught and it's so dynamic, it's so just go, 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 no one gets any time for any rest to think about where they want to take their business. So if we could all do that, if we've all got professional mentors to lean on, or the man down the pub to bounce ideas off, and have a plan and agree it and stick to that plan through all the various speed humps, I think we'd be in a far better place and not get dragged down in this cycle of commercial depression. So we've got to keep everything turning. 2 reasons why we're in business: to have fun, most importantly to have fun, and to make money. And money's the byproduct of having fun. That's the message. Goodbye.